Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. Monday review is back for the first time this season, but unfortunately it was defeat for Gillingham on the opening day of the 2022-23 campaign as we went down by 2-0 at Plough Lane against Johnny Jackson's Wimbledon. The one big omission from Neil Harris's first competitive lineup of the new season was the captain, Stuart O'Keefe, who had not recovered sufficiently from a knee problem. So it was Dom Jeffries who got the nod in the middle of the park against Sean Williams. That Gills team in full was Glenn Morris in goal. From right to left, it was Will Wright, Max Emar, Elkan Baggott and Ryan Law. We had Sean Williams and Dom Jeffries shielding that back four. Ollie Lee started off in the 10, and we then had Scott Cashgit and Jordan Green operating up alongside Mika Mandron. I thought we started the first half relatively well. We harried them and pressed them high. It was clear that Wimbledon wanted to try and play out from the back. It didn't look for a while like they had the capabilities to do it. And there was one particular chance where Mandron closed down the keeper. He had a poor touch and poor pass. Scott Cashgit then pinched it off Will Nightingale. I think we got booked for bringing him down. And we didn't really make much of the free kick. I think it was Will Wright that drifted across into the box that went all the way through and out for a goal kick. I actually thought that the opening goal came slightly against the balance of play. Not in the sense that we were dominant in terms of chances and getting into their third and entries into their box, but the fact that we were keeping it well, we were keeping them at arm's length, we looked comfortable defensively, and then we defend a corner. Elkan Baggott heads it out to about 25-30 yards out. Ethan Chislett, I'm not going to sit here and say that we've done too much wrong. It's a brilliant first touch from the midfielder. And his second touch was a finish that he arrowed into the top corner from outside the box. Glenn Morris had absolutely no chance. He was grasping at thin air. And suddenly we had work to do. After that, unfortunately, we became very pedestrian, very predictable. It's nice to see us, and I've complimented us on it through pre-season. Us wanting to play a different way, to get the ball down, to come to feet off the keeper, to play through the thirds. We can mix it up and hit Mika Mandron when we have to, but it had been really refreshing, and we played some really quick, dynamic, incisive stuff against Portsmouth and Crystal Palace in the two home friendlies that I saw. There was a lesser degree against Dover because we had more trialists, but it had been really promising. But everything that we did against Wimbledon, unfortunately, just felt too slow and too careful. And it looked to me like too many players had it dawn on them that this was a competitive game. It wasn't a friendly, and there was 3 points at stake at the end of it, and plenty looked a little bit like rabbits in headlights, unfortunately. Could have been two before the half-time whistle. Glenn Morris made a smart stop with his feet. I think it might have been Chislett again. His shot took a nick off of... No, it wasn't. It was Chris Gunter, tell a lie, and his shot took a nick off Elkan Baggott, and Morris did really well to adjust his weight. But yeah, we were trailing 1-0 at the break. We made one change at the interval. It seems that Dom Jeffries did pick up a knock in that first period. I actually thought we'd done all right. He was one of our better players. He was willing to get about the pitch. He showed good energy, work rate out of possession, tried to use it when he did have it, and provided legs. We know that Sean Williams isn't going to do that, but he had to be withdrawn. So we dropped Ollie Lee into the 8. Ben Reeves came in the 10, and he ran the show for 15 minutes. He got on the ball in good areas. He made us play in the final third, which we hadn't done in the first period. First ball into the box that he had the opportunity to do was flicked on by Mika Mandron, and Jordan Green on the stretch couldn't quite direct it goalwards. It drifted just wide of the far post. I know Green did sort of appeal for a penalty, but I didn't see anything from my seat that would suggest it warranted a spot kick. But yeah, Reeves was having a positive impact. He was wanting the ball. He was keeping it. He increased the tempo. We looked more incisive. And the second key pass that he played was a really good ball in behind the fullback and the centre half, and it got Scott Cashgit away. And Scott Cashgit, when he gets them legs open, is quick. And he got a good ball across the 6-yard line. Unfortunately, we couldn't quite keep up with him. Mika Mandron was on the stretch, didn't quite get there. Jordan Green, I think, recovered it and over the far side, and they might have managed to harry it out for a throw-in or a corner, which we didn't make anything of. But the signs were encouraging. We were on the front foot. Everything we were doing was quicker. We then got a set piece. I think Jordan Green was coming more to the fore. He was getting on the ball in and around their box, was winning us free kicks, taking us up the park. It looked too far out for a shot, and I think we had Will Wright and Reeves over it. Reeves decided to go for goal, and Nick Zane grabbed it at the second attempt, but it was a shot on target. It was more intent from Gillingham, and in particular Ben Reeves. But yeah, after that, initial flurry, the game became bitty and broken, and there was bookings for both sides and niggly bits and handbags, and that suited Wimbledon. Obviously, they were winning the game. They could slow it down, play it at their pace. And then frustratingly, we switch off completely for the second goal. There's a free kick on the edge of the box. I think it's a combination of Maxime and Ollie Lee bring down the centre forward. They go for goal from the set piece, and it's a really good stop from Glenn Morris. Gets a big left hand on it, and it goes out of play nearly over on the far side, but they recycle it. We don't stop the cross, and then Shea Alexander, who's just come on, decides not to move, not to jump, just lets the bloke run off in behind him. Jack Curry, I think it was, who heads it into the bottom corner. Morris does his best, gets a hand on it, but really had no chance again. 15-20 minutes to go, 2-0 down, chasing it. Didn't have loads on the bench. Reeves had come on and tried his best. Alex McDonald's not yet fit. 2 defenders. A young centre forward, Joe Gabodi, come on for the last 10 minutes, along with David Tatonda. Worked hard enough, ran around. But Wimbledon, in truth, saw the game out very, very comfortably. Do always like to look at the opposition, who I thought was their best player on the day. So we're going to call this Dominant Don. For me, there was a couple of candidates. Ethan Chislett, obviously, with the first goal, was very good. Jack Curry, who got the second, had a very good afternoon. But for me, it was one player in the middle of the park who ran the show. That was Paris Magoma, who they've got in on loan from Brentford. Thought he was absolutely superb. Looking at his stats, he played the full 90 minutes, 83% pass completion, 1 or 2 key passes, won all of his duels on the floor, 5 out of 5. Just moved around the pitch really well, Magoma. I said midway through the first half on the Matchday Live, I think, or commented to someone next to me in the ground and said, all of a sudden it looked like Wimbledon had loads of space in the middle third, and he was very rangy. Had a long stride, and once he got moving it was difficult to pick him up, and his passing was good and crisp, and it kept them ticking over. Yeah, very, very good performance. So my Dominant Don was Paris Magoma. In terms of the Gills man of the match, probably sums us up, unfortunately, in where we were in terms of the performance and the result. I'm going to give it to goalkeeper Glenn Morris, who I thought was very solid on his second debut. Played the full 90 minutes, obviously. Made 3 decent saves, 2 particularly. The one first half I've already spoken about, where he adjusted his weight and stuck out a leg to prevent them going 2-0 up just before half time. Then felt for him for the second goal, because he makes a really good stop from the free kick, and then we don't do enough to prevent the cross coming in or being attacked. He had no chance with either goal. Commanded his box, he was loud, talking to his back four all the time. So in terms of a debut from a personal point of view, really good for Glenn Morris, but unfortunately we lost the game. But he was my Gills man of the match. In terms of our ratings overall, not great, unfortunately. There was a few that stood out as promising. Glenn Morris, Elkan Baggott, Dom Jeffries, Ben Reeves probably were the 4 better players on the day. But we'll just run through them match ratings that I gave us quickly. I went Glenn Morris 7 in the back 4. Will Wright had an afternoon to forget on debut. Unfortunately, looked a little bit like rabbit in the headlights. Gave him a 5. Max Amar 5.5. Not sure he's the type of centre back that's going to be able to play the way Neil Harris looks to want us to play. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out over the remainder of the transfer window. Elkan Baggott 6. Solid enough competitive debut. Ryan Law 5.5. Didn't get a lot of help at times. Wasn't our best player, wasn't our worst player. Moving further forward, Dom Jeffries I thought was solid enough. Gave him a 6 before he had to come off at half time. Sean Williams was the calm amongst the chaos in the first half. Trying to keep us ticking over. Was always available for a pass. Was always talking and leading. I gave him a 6.5. His influence did wane in the second period, unfortunately. Attacking positions, Jordan Green I gave a 6. Thought he was anonymous first half aside from 1 run, but he came to the fore second period, got us up the pitch, attacked their defenders. Unlucky with a couple of efforts. The one on the stretch, it was a left-footed snapshot that went wide. Gave him a 6 out of 10. Ollie Lee wasn't his day, unfortunately, which was a real shame after a really promising pre-season. Had to drop back in and play as an 8, which I didn't like. Didn't think it suited him at all. Gave him a 5.5. He was another one that got booked. Scott Cashkett, I think, got cautioned as well. Just never saw enough of him. The one time he did get in behind, like we've already mentioned, he put in a really good ball left-footed. But that was all too fleeting. So 5.5 for Scott Cashkett as well. Mika Mandra on the same, 5.5. Didn't get loads of service. His one chance first half he unfortunately met on the way down because he jumped slightly too early. was feeding off scraps. We've heard that, haven't we, last season? Just swap out Mika Mandron for the words of Dane Oliver. In terms of the substitutes, obviously Joe Gabodi and David Tatonda came on very late, so we didn't give them a rating. Shea Alexander, sadly, only a 4. He's at fault for the second goal, which ultimately cost us the game and kills all hope of a comeback. Ben Reeves was bright enough, 6 before fading. There's work to do, but they are my Gills player ratings. Right, that is it for our first Monday review of the new season. There is no midweek game this week, so we get a full 5 days on the training ground to prepare for Rochdale, which will be our first home game of the league season. Looking forward to it. If we win next week, we tend to forget Saturday, don't we? A few positives, lots to work on, lots to improve on, and lots to improve on quickly, unfortunately. It wasn't a performance that I'd seen in pre-season. Everything that we did quickly and incisively in the friendly games, we just didn't do for 90 minutes on Saturday. So hopefully it's a case of the cobwebs being well and truly blown away in terms of league fixtures. We certainly need players in, don't we? 2 or 3 at least. I think we need another centre-back. We certainly need another goal-scoring option. Might need another centre midfielder as well. That'll take us up to, what, 23? I can't see us going much higher than that, unfortunately. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening right to the end. It is tough when we have to bring you these videos reporting on yet another defeat. We was all hoping it was going to be slightly different, but such is life. I'll be back later in the week, hopefully with a Rochdale van to preview that game. Be back next Saturday, myself and Boz, and hopefully Stocky and Glenn and more of the gang will come on and join us for Match Day Live for our first home game of the season. Please do us a favour, please keep liking down below, hit that subscribe button, keep telling people about us. You know where we are, we're on here on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, obviously the private Facebook page for Gills fans. Till next time, try and enjoy your week and up the Gills.